Today in History. It's July 25th, and of course, we continue with our journey into the past.
We do, and today we have 3 events to share with our listeners. It's a busy day, so let's get straight to the quiz question. DNA is commonly depicted through this image. Number 1, the double flip-flop. Number 2, the double helix. The question again, DNA is commonly depicted through this image. Number 1, the double flip-flop, or number 2, the double helix. Tough question maybe. If you know the answer, you can put it on our Bundy board or text in pounder sharp 1045 451. You could win an Usan. And let's find out what's on the list for today. Today in history. In 1788, Mozart's Symphony No. 40 in G minor was completed. In 1920, Rosalind Franklin, pivotal contributor to the discovery of the double helix, was born. And in 1978, Louise Brown, the world's first test tube baby, was born.
네, 1788년 오늘이죠. 모차르트의 교향곡 40번 1악장이 완성되었습니다. 그리고 1920년에는 DNA의 이중나선구조 발견에 핵심적인 역할을 했던 Rosalind Franklin이 태어난 날이고요. 그리고 1978년에는 세계 최초의 시험관 아기인 Louise Brown이 태어난 날입니다.
Very interesting events that happened today. And we'll start with this, one of the most recognizable symphonies in history.
And this is none other than Symphony No. 40 in G minor, which was completed on this day in 1788 by the one and only Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
That's right, and sometimes referred to as the Great G Minor Symphony, it is unquestionably one of Mozart's most admired works and perhaps most recognizable works as well. And it has been often featured in movies, TV commercials, even phone ringtones, for example, especially during the 90s, such as this one. I wonder what Mozart would think about that.
I know.
He'd probably say like, not what I intended.
This reminds me of, a certain video game that I used to play a lot.
Oh, right.
Right. That sound.
The beeping sound, right?
Yeah. All right. Anyhow, the symphony was a source of inspiration to other classical masters, such as Beethoven, and moreover, Brahms was said to have acquired the original score of the symphony for his manuscript collection.
Are you a classical music fan?
Not exactly. I'm trying to listen to more classical music.
Okay.
So I'm kind of learning, I guess. Taking baby steps right now. I'm just learning.
Simon is a huge classical music fan. Yeah. Yeah, big time. I used to enjoy it actually at home. If the mood is right, actually, I think it's mood music for me.
Yeah.
It has to be right, though.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on now. Let's talk about the 20th century when a remarkable physician was born to open the gates of a new frontier in the field of medicine.
She was Rosalind Franklin, whose work on X-ray diffraction images led to the discovery of the DNA double helix image.
And there it is on Point and Radio, right?
Yes.
Now, that particular was nicknamed Photo 51, actually, taken in 1952 under Franklin's supervision.
Yeah, and this enabled fellow scientists to understand better the structure of cells and their metabolism, as well as the pillar concept in genetics that information is passed down from parents to their children.
Franklin and her work have been extensively commemorated and recognized in the scientific community with buildings, schools, and institutions, and even universities named after her.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool, right? Now, speaking of science, I guess we'll stay on the topic of medical breakthroughs, right?
All right. Now, staying on the topic of medical breakthroughs, we move to a couple of decades after when the world met the first test tube baby, Louise Brown.
Conceived artificially through in vitro fertilization, Brown was born in England on this day in 1978, and there is the newspaper on Point and Radio. What a cute little baby,
I know.
The lovely Louise, you can see the headline reads.
And 4 years later, her younger sister, Natalie, was also conceived through in vitro fertilization.
This procedure has now become a major treatment for reproductively challenged parents, and it earned Robert G. Edwards, the physiologist who developed the treatment, the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2010. A hero to many, I'm sure.
Yes. Wow.
I know I have friends who have struggled, had struggled for a long time trying to get pregnant, and finally through the help of in vitro fertilization they were able to. And my sister's one of those people, actually.
I see. I think more and more people these days
I think so.
Yeah. They're, I think, well, one of the reasons because I guess women are getting married at a later age.
Right. Choosing to have children at a later age.
At a later age because of pollution, stress, or the foods that we, eat these days or consume.
That's right.
A lot of reasons.
Work stress could be one
Work
of them
stress,
as well.
yes, definitely.
All right, so that's going to do it for today in history. Before we wrap things up, the answer to today's quiz question. DNA is commonly depicted through this image. Number 1, the double flip-flop, or number 2, the double helix. We learned that the answer is number 2, the double helix.
Okay. That's all we have for today in history, but we'll be back on Monday with more from the past.
That's right. And when we come back from this break, it's Friday morning. Steve Miller's travel notes. We'll find out where Steve is taking us around the world in just a couple of minutes. Here's Katy Perry. Roar.